Yo, we are live. I'm actually streaming at a decent hour. We're going to start out talking about the debate, the GOP debate. We streamed it yesterday. And even though it was a boring debate, a pointless debate, it was hilarious. There were some funny moments from that. We're going to talk about that with special guests. I'm going to bring him on right now. This is Iggy. This is Stephen Ignoramus. He does a show every day, 10 a.m. Eastern. And Iggy, when I bring you on, correct me if I have anything wrong here, discussing spicy topics. So this show, I started out very milquetoast. I still think I am milquetoast, but this is not for kids. It might get spicy. He hosts guests. I've been on his show multiple times. This is my favorite dude to talk to. He's not afraid to go into racism, slavery, political issues, dating, food, music. He's a musician. He's been on the show before. It's been a minute. Steven, how are you feeling?
What's up, man? How's it going? Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks for the little intro. You didn't get anything wrong. We do talk about all kinds of things. Me and you have a similar background where we kind of, we're way more blue pilled at the start of our journey. Now we've become a little more red pilled, and it's hard to even call my show a news show anymore. I mean, we cover the news, but like you said, we get into all kinds of relationships, interpersonal stuff, local drama, racism, sexism, whatever other isms. And 10 a.m. every single weekday. You can follow me on Twitter. It says it on the screen, but it's Ignoramus streams on YouTube. And I know we're streaming over on Twitter right now. I will never call it X. It's always going to be Twitter to me. But yeah, I'm pumped to be here, pumped to talk about some cool stuff, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, absolutely, man. And one of the coolest things you do, I don't see you talk about it outside of it a lot. When I catch you in the morning, sometimes you were filling in for the homie Frank, and you're just reading Bible verses, man. It was like, I was driving into work one day. I was like, this is what I need right now.
Oh, man.
It was so dope.
I love hearing that, but I hate hearing it because I stopped doing that. Okay, so here's the deal with that. Yeah, all right, let me give you the spiel. Frank was doing his morning Bible streams for a long time, I think a couple of years. And he was doing it at around 9:05 every weekday, and my show is at 10 a.m. Every weekday on Eastern time. And I took over for him once he got a new job, and I was starting the stream early, reading through the Bible, praying, sometimes doing some music. And honestly, it kind of got in the way of my personal morning time with God. So even though I am reading the Bible on air, I'm doing it not as a performance, I guess, but anytime you're doing a live stream, you're performing a little bit. So I actually stopped doing it for the time being. But when someone like you or whoever comes to me and says that they got some out of it, man, it makes me want to fire it back up again. I mean, right now I'm making a big push to try to grow my career, my streaming career, before the election next year. Election years is when things can really pop off and make or break a career. So I wanted to focus on that, focus on my music. But I did actually suspend those streams and this was this week when I stopped them. But dang, I don't know, man. If one or two people are getting stuff out of it, then I don't know. Maybe I'll restart it. Got to pray about it, man.
For sure. But I mean, that's the most important. You and your relationship with God.
Yeah.
I didn't even put that in. I should have put that in the intro. God-fearing, Christ is King.
Yes.
Stephen Ignoramus. And hey, whatever, that's priority. But I giving you the feedback, man. And the chat was on like just a positive vibe, like all your chats are. But that's good, man. I haven't talked with Frank in a minute, but good dude.
Yeah, great guy.
So cool, man. I got the crickets, y'all. I don't know how they stopped. Before the show, you heard the crickets. And the funny thing is, what's this deal, Stephen, before we get into the topics about with black people and the fire alarms? Because that's what I'm worried about now. People thinking I got my fire alarm going on.
Well, this is how refined Osiris is. When, he's a black man, but the chirp that you hear is the natural world. It's not even, it's actual crickets. It's not even the chirp of the smoke detector. And honestly, just the fact that you could hear the crickets makes you a lot more refined, because usually, have you ever seen this clip of Kevin Samuels talking to this lady on a Instagram live, and the chirping's in the background, and he's like, I can tell you're single because you have the single woman alarm, and she's like, you got the single black woman alarm, and she's like, what do you mean? He's like, the chirp. He's like, the smoke alarm in your background. You don't hear that? He's like, how do you live with that? And she goes, well, the way I live with being a single woman is, he's like, no. How do you live with the chirp going off every 30 seconds? She's like, I don't hear it. What do you mean? But yeah, man, it's just an epidemic in the black community right now. It's worse than murder right now in America. It's the epidemic of the smoke alarm. So it just is what it is, man.
I don't know if people are putting it into videos, but I saw a video which was alarming, but this is what happens. I mean, we see death so much on, it's like faces of death every day.
Yeah.
I see people murked on X every day, and I'm like eating my Doritos like, okay, it's crazy. But some dude got into a beef with somebody and took out a piece and murked him right then and there. Yeah. But in the video in the background, you hear a smoke alarm going off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if they put it in there just to be funny or what, because you never know nowadays.
From what I understand, that one's real. I mean, I know the killing's
you
real.
saw that one?
I saw that one, and it's the lady filming through her window.
No way.
From what I understand, because she posted it. I mean, these people, I don't know if they're trying to be, or like, I'm pretty sure that one's real. I mean, I saw this, who's that rapper, DaBaby or whatever? He had one where he was cooking, and it was going off every 30 seconds.
That nasty-ass meal he was cooking?
Dude, I think it's real, man. That's just my take. I did a bit the other day. This is crazy. I did this show, and we did the race coverage for about an hour, and for the first 15 minutes I put on a YouTube video that it was the smoke alarm going off for an hour, like every 30 seconds, and my friends were texting me while I was on air like, dude, change your battery. And I'm like, dude, are you serious? This is a bit. I'm like, maybe I am black, dude. Yeah, I don't know, dude, but I think especially that one, I thought it was real. But if I'm wrong, then there's this like international conspiracy of the smoke alarm, and I don't know, but it's gotten ridiculous.
Even if it's not, it's like, whatever. It's hilarious. But you said you caught some of the debate yesterday.
Yes, correct.
You had some pertinent questions. What was your first big picture takeaway from this thing that happened yesterday?
Just look at the state of the right wing without Trump, man. Like the state of the right wing without Trump is boring. It's anti-white. It's foreign influenced. It's we're being invaded. We've been conquered. It's feminist. It's soy. It just sucks without Trump, man. Trump is basically, I mean, I don't like I don't like Bill Clinton, but Trump and Bill Clinton are basically the only alpha males in the last 30 years in politics. And I know we're probably going to talk a little bit about that tweet I put out last night about voting for a Democrat if it's not Trump. But it's well, now say Trump is not in the picture at all. There's no such thing as Trump. They definitely are all against Vivek Ramaswamy because the level to which he was getting interrupted and getting dogpiled on was crazy. And honestly, he's not good. He's weak on the dog pile. When he was getting talked over by Nikki Haley and talked over by all these people, they sensed blood, and Vivek kind of let himself be talked over, and that would never happen with Trump. It's too bad Trump's not in the debates. I think he should be. I know that you agree with that as well, but that doesn't make it a deal breaker at all for me with Trump. I think Trump is basically the God-ordained king of America right now, and there's not much that's going to make me get off the Trump train. But yeah, I mean, just the state. I mean, and you asked in general, but like the individual moments, that Donald Duck line from Chris Christie was just ass, dude. I mean, the guy was so proud of himself, and it was terrible. The name of my live stream tomorrow is, well, have you seen the meme "Hide the Pain, Harold"? I
don't think so.
It's like a guy holding a cup of coffee and he's smiling, but he's got this like hurt look on his face. And that's the name of my stream tomorrow is "Hide the Pain, Ronald," because Ron DeSantis just has this look of a beaten emasculated man to him. I don't know if you saw the clip of him getting makeup put on his face.
Who was it?
Clip?
DeSantis?
Ron DeSantis, dude.
No, I have not.
I'll find it in a second. Maybe I'll show it on screen. Yeah, Hide the Pain Herald. Yes,
I have seen that. I didn't know the name of it, but yeah, I've seen
that's
it.
Hide the Pain Herald. And Ron DeSantis has that look to him where he's just hiding something.
Oh, I have seen the clip that they should put on X. The fake smile clip, or
that's the look that I'm talking about. What I mean is this: it's this video of him like puckering up his lips. It's from last night. He's like, and this person comes up and like dabs him all up with makeup, and he's just like, it's so gay. And like, people that are hardcore Christians like me, we're opposed to homosexuality, and a lot of Christians, as well as I do, have a problem with Trump speaking at the Log Cabin Republicans, which is the gay Republican lobby. But I've said in the past that there's a difference between supporting gays and being gay. Like, I legit think that Ron DeSantis is legit gay. Like, I legit think that. I think that he's a homosexual. And if he needs to like act differently if he's not. But anyway, yeah, I could rant all day, but it's crazy times, man.
Oh my gosh. You a fool, man. You a fool. You know why it's funny? There's always that little bit of truth where you're like, damn, you know what? He might have a point. Yeah, I think that's why it's funny.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I pride myself on being like directionally true. Dude, look at that, man. Oh my gosh. The way he like licks the underside of his teeth before he... Because I'll say about my show, yeah, look at this. I'll say about my show, like half of what we do now is just criticize people's appearance, dude. Yeah. Like we just like what people look like, and look at this. The end of this clip is damning.
He is weird, man. I will say that.
He's a weird guy, man. Yeah, but yeah, what were your thoughts on it?
Oh man, my takes are not as good as yours on that. I'm coming from the corny, like, I like debates.
Yeah.
I like classic moments. And let me just go back to Trump. I've been very critical of Trump for not going to the debates. And I'm not going to lie. Part of it is selfishness. I want to see a populist go up on the stage and just take a figurative flamethrower. All of this is nonsense. Trump of 2016, I think, would have done that. He did that. That's how he came up. And for him not to be there, I'm mad at him for many reasons, and that's one of the reasons. And I know we disagree on this one because she's a woman. You might know where I'm going. I think Carrie Lake has that flamethrower. I didn't know who she was until that reporter came up to her, and she was like, "What crack pipe? You mean Hunter's crack pipe?" And back then even it wasn't as common as you would hear people say it now, like Marjorie Taylor Greene or whatever. I was like, "Damn, who is this?" I just feel like we're robbed of who's the next alpha if it's a woman, but if every other male is beta, then what do you think on that?
Well, I think you should just turn that flamethrower down and grill me a sandwich with it. I mean, that's what I really think. No, but I mean, all jokes aside, man, I think that men should lead even if there's not good men. I mean, men should like I don't think that, like, for instance, the man should be the leader of the household. Now, if he abdicates that role or isn't a good leader, I actually don't think that it'll help for the woman to be the leader of the household. I think that he's just got to man up, and if he doesn't, then the family pays the price. But in the same way, I don't think that the man should be the woman of the household, even if she's not being a good woman. It doesn't make sense. So just because there's not a man that's doing a good job, it doesn't mean that the roles are reversed or whatever. Maybe they would have to step up in a certain way. But no, I mean, we don't need the next to Trump right now because we have Trump. Now, I do agree with you that it's an error. I wouldn't even say an error, because the argument that he's not doing the debates is because everyone has stuff to gain from Trump, and he doesn't want to give them anything. From a strategic on his from his standpoint, I understand the argument. From, I think you said the word selfish standpoint, I want Trump too. I want him to be there as well. There's no more entertaining politician ever. Basically, he's the most entertaining politician of all time. And if he was there, I'd be there streaming it. It'd be fun. I'd get clicks. But my point is just some people are saying, I don't know if you've said this, maybe I saw a tweet like this, but it's not a disqualifying thing just because he's not there. Because honestly, at this point, I think they would have to kill Trump in order for me to get off the Trump train. Like, there would have to be no Trump. There's almost nothing he could do or say. I mean, he said back in the day he could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and people would still support him. I'm kind of there with Trump. I kind of made that mistake with Kanye West. I was on the Ye train for a while till certain things happened. Literally the opposite that the mainstream says. The mainstream jumped ship from Ye because of all his anti-Semitic stuff. That made me like Ye more. It was the other stuff. It was all kinds of. I know we're not talking that tonight, but should Trump be in the debate? I don't know. I think hopefully he's back for the last one. The whole Trump campaign and his staffing and all those things is a giant mess, but it doesn't change that Trump is Trump and he's just the guy for the moment. He's just the guy, man. That's what it is. So,
yeah, Trump is still the man. There's no doubt about it. The whole political world revolves around that dude.
He's the black hole of So, real fast, can I share my screen and show you this clip, dude?
Oh, for sure.
So let me.
I'll get Cyan super chat here. I saw that Cyan, great friend of the show, $2 super chat. YouTube isn't showing your live, so less views. I saw that. I don't know what's going on. So, thanks for stopping by.
Go ahead and add that to look. This is, to me, I mean, I said this look from this week and the look from last week, that hide the pain Ronald look was disqualifying. Check this out, dude.
No, if you're just listening, I'm going to upload this on podcast. He's getting his makeup puffed,
dude. No, and the way that he puts his look at that. I thought he was getting ready to give Nikki Haley a kiss, dude.
It's weird. He almost he was sticking his head out like maybe a little girl that wanted their parent to wipe something off their face or something.
Now look at this part though. Look at this part. This is what's going on. I could watch this little. He's like, he wants his nose. He wants his binky. He wants his nose wiped. He wants his blankie. He wants his pass. That right there. That moment. Like, that is a man that I played this 2-second clip hundreds of times on my show today. Where just that little, you see how his lip curls at the end there? like I don't know, man. I think that dude is gay. I don't have proof. If I did, I'd show the world. But yeah, anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We're not gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
That's why I love your show, though, man. You'll find these little clips, like little moments like that. I mean, that means more than anything he said during the debate to me. I have more questions about that moment than anything that happened during the debate. They got these canned lines and canned responses. They're basically like robots. If this topic is brought up, then go to this,
Yeah. I mean, the reason you're questioning it, because that's questionable, bro. That is straight up like, I'm questioning. I'm noticing. I'm questioning. I am assuming that is a homosexual. Like that's just not good. So yeah, I mean, but the debates are fun. I mean, I think a lot of these people just need to get out of here. I mean, who's the one guy that looks like the Law and Order dude?
Doug Burnham?
Yeah. Was that his name? Dude.
He's North Dakota?
North Dakota governor.
Governor, not mayor.
Yeah.
But Doug Burgum. We called him. Yeah. We were calling them caterpillars in the chat yesterday because his eyebrows are serious. Yeah, man. He got some serious eyebrows.
Yeah, it's like a, you know how a Dr. Seuss book, it'll be all like the Lorax or whatever.
call him Lorax from now on.
Yeah, it's just a clown show. And then I was saying, Chris Christie, it's like I put that little clip on mute. It's like you dangled the fatted calf, like the fatted ham from the spit, and it's like, oh, it's all like jiggling. But it's just a clown show. I mean, I don't know. Trump was the first year when it was like 10 people on stage, right?
Yeah.
That's when it started. Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty neutral on whether Trump should be on the stage for his candidacy, but man, he should be back just for the lulls, like just that entertainment dynamic thing. I hope he's back for the third. I don't know how many there are, but I hope he comes back to the debates for sure.
Yeah, they got to cut the numbers down, and I really, a lot of the criticism should be on the candidates. That whatever you need to do to make him look bad for not, if you can't make him look bad for not coming, then really that's on you. That's politics.
Yeah.
And I said, Ron DeSantis, you're going up against Donald Trump. This isn't like some corporate dude. So, Ron DeSantis gets up there and like, you should be on the stage to talk to the American people. And I'm like, no, you said, bitch, you are a pussy. Get your ass up on the stage.
That would be awesome.
I'm going to call you pussy until you come to this debate. I ain't even calling you President Trump. He doesn't have that energy, but that's what you need to cut through.
But you know why they don't do that, though? Because Trump will come over the top. Like Trump will not, like none
good.
of them should. No, not good for them.
I mean,
not good for DeSantis. Not good for anyone doing that with Trump. That's the reason. What I'm saying is everyone there is a complete beta compared to Trump. So if they were to go there with Trump, I mean, this is the guy that brought the people accusing Clinton of rape to his own wife's debate. He said he would put Hillary in jail. Now he didn't put Hillary in jail. He called Rosie O'Donnell like a fat pig and a dog. I think that these people are very smart to not be really. I mean, Ron DeSantis called Trump a keyboard warrior or something like that today. I mean, Trump said in a truth post, he insinuated that Ron DeSantis touches little boys, man. like this is like 4 months ago, and it's they can't mess with Trump, dude. I would be so scared if I was going against him, man.
This is the clip you're talking about, and you're right. I remember when they did that, when Trump, it was on Truth, I believe.
Yeah.
Where he did that. Here's the clip. It's a short clip of Ron DeSantis. I'm just going to play it in the middle where he called them out.
Amounts of debt, particularly in his last year in office, of course you're going to end up leading to inflation when you do that. So I think on issue after issue, he owes it to the voters to come out and do it. And I'd say the final thing, Bill, he's had a lot to say about me on social media really since 2022, right before the midterm election. He started attacking me when we all Republicans were supposed to be united for a red wave. No, he tried to attack me and has been doing it a lot. It's one thing to do it behind a keyboard. Step up on stage and do it to my face. I'm ready for it. You used to say I was a great governor. Now all of a sudden you're saying the opposite. Let's have that discussion, and I'll do it. We could do it one-on-one. I was with Sean last night. Let's do that, and let's give the American people the choice that they deserve.
Yeah, so that's him there. But it's kind of like, if I were to call out, I don't know, Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder's got millions of followers. He can be like, bro, you ain't nobody. Like, what are you doing? So it's almost like that. Like, he sounded like it almost made him look a little bit weak.
Yeah.
Because it's like Trump doesn't even care about him. He's like, Trump. It's his way of saying, Trump, please debate me, please.
Yeah, it's very sad. I mean, it's just this, someone's vibe and their body language and who they are and their speech patterns and what their voice sounds like kind of all contributes to just people's perception of who and what you are. And Trump and DeSantis could say the exact same things, and Trump would seem like a international business mogul that is married to a supermodel, and Ron DeSantis would seem like a flamer. And like I mean, I don't know if that audio was doctored, and I hate to repeat myself more than like 12 times in a stream, but that sounds like a lispy, high-pitched gay man. I just think the DeSantis thing. I mean, again, and I mean, I guess I'll get out in front of my tweet that I think you're going to bring up later. Is I think there's only two routes. I mean, let me walk you through this kind of logical thing that I've put forth on my show. Okay, the regime is sick, and it's we need someone that is anti-regime. So that means we need the person that is the most anti-regime that can win. Now, Trump is not fully anti-regime, but he's the most anti-regime that can win. And Dr. Shiva, he is anti-regime, but he can't win. And if anyone else other than Trump that can win does win, they're not going to be anti-regime. So DeSantis, and I would put a little bit of a caveat for Vivek Ramaswamy. He's saying some really anti-regime stuff. I love it. He's criticized Israel. He said a lot of stuff. He called transgenderism a mental disorder. He said he would revoke citizenship for birthright for illegal immigrants' children last night. That stuff's good, but he can't win. So my point is, you either go with Trump or you try to crash the system. There's two ways of trying to crash the system. And if you want to crash the system, you do it as quick as possible. The way to do it as quick as possible is to just vote Democrat. Now, you could not vote, but that means your vote's not going anywhere. You could vote for a Republican other than Trump, but that's not going to crash the system as fast. The system's already crashing, and the Republican vote, other than Trump, will just make it crash slower. You want it to be a fast crash. So that's why I tweeted out last night that I put a date on the tweet that if it's not Trump next year, at this point, things can change. But I will totally just endorse Biden or whoever else that will make the system tank harder and faster than it ever has. And, we can clip this little segment and show them it, because that's how I logically think about it. It's, Trump will fix the system by destroying the system, or we just tank the whole thing, vote Democrat, and just live under communism for the next 20 or 30 years, because that's where we're headed right now anyway.
That's the kamikaze take with the vote.
Accelerationist, collapsitarian, yes.
Collapsitarian, I like that.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's what I'm describing.
I'm being dead serious. There's some legitimacy to that take. There's some legitimacy. Like, why would you vote for, let's say, just pretend Trump's not there. Why would you vote for Tim Scott? Like, that's just dumb. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So you're right. Yeah. You're either
yeah. Nikki Haley, you could go down the list. And I think that Ron DeSantis is barely better than them. It's Trump, anyway, finish your thought, but yeah, you're right.
Oh, no, I agree completely. So I've thought of it. I'm not doing that, but I've really thought about it. I mean, not that my vote changes anything, but I think what's more important than the actual vote even is like how do we view the world? How do we view this political chessboard so we can talk about it and stuff? Here's my take is you vote for Biden and Biden wins. You accelerate the walls closing in, and that makes men tougher. That makes men, you talk about, hey, this is kind of soft, this person's soft. How do you make them hard? You can't really, like in football practice, you go until you throw up. You got to go to the wall, and you got to get those walls squeezing in. And then all of a sudden, all those little names people call each other, whatever, we're in the foxhole.
Yes.
And I think that's how you get the weak men stronger, really.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I mean, you get the men, and also smaller is smarter at a certain point where we can, you've talked about when you were on the show, you talked about, secession or national divorce, but it doesn't have to look necessarily, and I think these were your words, it doesn't have to look like a civil war or anything like that. It can be a right wing or Christian nationalist or red stronghold within a state that kind of secedes, maybe not explicitly, but implicitly, where you gather around people that are like you. And it's like if you have less mass on you, I mean, even the most muscle-bound dude in the world, that dude's strong, but he can't get through some doorways. And if you can stay small and mobile, and I'm not saying this in the battlefield sense, I'm saying this in the cultural takeover sense. I mean, I truly think if Trump doesn't win, we're going to have to do something like that. Like, based right-wingers are going to have to pick a state and just go to it and crush, take over, run for mayor, run for city council, start businesses, go to church, go to churches and stuff like that. And it seems like if that's a form of secession, then I'm pro-secession. But I guess I just know not so much, but the Civil War, war amongst the states didn't work like that. It was geographic, way more, large regions. But yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think men need to get tougher. I mean, yeah. I hate to like just talk about how people look and people talk, but I've just never heard so many lisps in my entire life. I've never heard so many high voice, castrato lisp voice in my entire life. It's like there's more and more every day. So hope it changes, man.
Yeah, this takes like that is why I like talking to this young man, Stephen Ignoramus. Let me challenge you here. I mean, even though I feel everything there, I'm not against Trump. I feel you on everything. I'm just, man, the pandemic, my wife is tired of me talking about the pandemic. She'd be like, would you stop talking about that damn pandemic? But it really changed me, and I don't have any tolerance for, my concern is it's a populist movement, meaning the belief power should be with as many people as possible is what I mean by that. And I just want to, even if it's a dumb idea for politically for Trump to go to the debate, I just want him to remember, bruh, I don't work for you. You work for the movement. Just off of that, because here's my concern is that MAGA becomes the same thing as Black Americans to the Democrat Party. It's really tough to watch Black Americans talk about topics now, self-described, and 90% are Black Democrats. It's basically they will take anything and twist it into a pretzel to fit within that Democrat. MAGA's not there, but I'm just saying and I don't, do you even consider yourself MAGA, or does that term have any meaning to you?
Well, I mean, what I consider myself is to be a Christian, and I believe that in terms of government as well. I think, and I've kind of ditched the Christian nationalist label because I don't think it has to be on the national level. I believe in a Christian government regardless of the level, and I want Christian leaders passing Christian laws. And if that's in the form of the nation, cool. Or whatever, on whatever level. I mean, I'm a Christian governmentalist. That's what I kind of am. I'm a Trump supporter. That's really what I want more. So some people have kept the MAGA label, but they still support Trump. I support them in as much as that. If they're MAGA and they're not for Trump, then I'm not MAGA in the way they say. Now, I do want my country to be great. I want my society. I believe in greatness. So in that respect, yes, I would say I'm definitely under the broad MAGA label, or I'm also, I would call myself dissident right, or, I mean, I also don't entirely reject the fascist label. And I use that in a very technical sense, as I believe in a strong state. And so just to go back to what you said about Trump, the reason I just don't think that it's not about who works for who. I mean, Trump doesn't work for us and we don't work for Trump, but these are literally our rulers. Now, they can be bad rulers and they can be good rulers, but Trump is my ruler. To a certain extent, Biden is my ruler because he is the guy in power right now. And I believe that governments are ordained by God, and we're supposed to submit to those governments as it says in the Bible. That doesn't mean to sin when they tell you to, but I think that a Christian has to respect that God ordains the kings. And these are just kings. These are not, just because you call something a president doesn't make them not a king. Or they're a patriarch. So yeah, I do see what you mean about the plantation thing. I think that's what you said about it, how the Black Americans to a certain extent, or to a huge extent, are on the Democratic plantation. But I don't see the MAGA Trump plantation as being a bad thing because it opposes the global regime to the extent it does. That's the difference. Like, I'm not a big cult guy, but if there was a cult that was doing all the right things for society, then I'd be into that. And I wouldn't be in that cult, but I would support that cult. For instance, I'll give you an example. QAnon. I think QAnon is full of crap. I kind of fell for it a little bit for a few months, but isn't it just awesome to see some boomer on his boat that it's like where we go one, we go all. Tom Hanks is a pedophile. Ellen DeGeneres has bracelets on. She was at Epstein's Island. Now, I don't think many of these things are true, but there's something about seeing a rootin' tootin' boomer that's wrong on a lot of stuff, just crushing and not care. Now, but I don't like the Democrat equivalent of that because I think the Democrat, that whole thing is evil. So if it's on our side, I like the cult. I like the personality cult. I like Trump. I like he has his people that will take a bullet for him. And I think that's good.
And I think you're justified in saying that because why is for a lack of a better term, the establishment, the corporate media, why are they so scared of QAnon? If it's that wild and stupid, if it's something that wasn't a threat in any way, they wouldn't care about it. And I think they do care about it because, like, you're right, whether it's right or wrong is irrelevant. Like, we call Michelle Obama Big Mike. Whether we're right or wrong is irrelevant. That's cutting through the culture, and they don't like that. And they getting their feelings over it. Yeah. And they're going to try to put us in the gulags over it, but it's all good.
Yeah, I just hope it's not segregated, my brother. I hope black and white can be splitting rocks in Alaska, Yeah, I mean, I just see these things through the spiritual lens, and I honestly just think that the left and lowercase L left is just the enemies of God, and the right, lowercase right, are the friends of God. And that is not a 50-50 thing. It's not a 60-40, 70-30. I think that 90% of people are, and this goes for conservatives, this is all leftists, all Democrats, all liberals, and the vast majority of so-called conservatives are just the enemies of God. And there's this little pocket, this 10 to 15%, maybe less pocket of people that actually want to do God's will. And that's how I kind of see the world. And now Trump is not, I don't think Trump's a Christian, but the people he represents, he's the best shot for that segment of the population to move a little ground. I mean, it's the future as far as percentages and probability is very bleak politically, but if it's anyone other than Trump, it's a 0% chance. With Trump, it might be a 10 or 15% chance that we can turn this thing around, but it's literally zero with anyone. I would say maybe it's a 1% with Ramaswamy, but we got to go with what can work, and the anything other than Trump just basically cannot work. So
yeah, I'm very big on and I'm already trying to teach my kids this is they can be blue-haired freaks or whatever on the left, whatever happens, just be able to articulate your points. Make sure that you go, and what I bring that up because you just went through. And you articulated why you're for Trump in a very, there's a lot of people who can't. So you've thought through these things. I mean, I consider you a philosopher. You've thought through this. Somebody in the chat had a funny comment. I thought might be wrong. Was in the live yesterday. Said, "I'm a Christian localist."
Yes,
that's actually based.
That's very based. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at whatever level. I mean, I'm good friends with Might Be Wrong. I've met him several times in person, and I think that he although he's a Christian localist, I'm pretty sure that he would take a Christian government at whatever level it could actually happen. So local is based. It's interesting. Just back to what you're saying about your kids. I was talking about this today because I had a date. I was gonna have a date today. And then it didn't happen for reasons. Maybe you watched my episode from today or whatever. But I just kind of went off the cuff. I was like, I don't know how many young men are listening that need to hear this or whatever, but you should learn how to speak on the phone. You should learn how to speak. You should learn how to structure your arguments. I mean, this and learning how to speak. I also said you should learn how to give an interview and take an interview, whether that be a job interview or an actual interview on air or something like that. Learning how to speak, man. Some of these kids, I teach teenagers music and stuff like that, and some of them, I mean, they're just like, for real, capping, no capping, busting on God, and they just like mumble into the distance. And I think that young men should be able to speak, look people in the eye, and structure their arguments. And I think if you learn to structure your arguments and prioritize the truth, eventually your ideas will improve. Articulation plus truth is going to point you in. I think that'll point you to God, because God spoke and the world and the universe came into existence, and he did that out of creation, love, order, and his nature. So I think that if you focus on that, you actually be pointed to God eventually, which is awesome.
Excellent take. That's exactly why I do it for my children. You added the very most important part, probably, is the truth and God. And that when you wrap that into the package of explaining yourself, I'm trying to give them, because I know they're going to public school, I'm trying to give them that force field, or not even a force field, but the tools to be able to kind of navigate when people throw out these little, the Skittles or whatever the rainbow thing is, or it could be Ukraine, it could be whatever the hot topic is, where you have to believe this, and you got to think about it like, no, I don't. And I got some questions for you. You talked about the dating. I saw that. I didn't see why. I just saw your tweet where you were like, it was supposed to work out. What happened?
Well, the thing is, okay, it's funny that you're like highlighting me for this. I'm like talking about my dating escapades.
Everybody, hold on. He's gonna go into his dating life. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. So first of all, before I do, just throwing it out there, 35-year-old Christian dude, property owner with money. If you're a lady under 30 years old that wants to have kids, you hit me up. You can slide into my DMs or whatever. But anyway, so I was doing this dating app, and me and this girl matched. She's 25, Christian, seemed really cool. We texted for a couple days, and I can't believe I'm talking about this on another guy's channel, man. This is crazy. But she, we were texting for 3 days, and last night we planned to go on our date today. And last night she texted me and she's like, hey, I need to tell you something. We need to talk about something before. And, if you've been on a dating app, you list all kinds of stuff about you. You fill out a profile, you have your height, whatever, your pictures and stuff like that. And you say whether you're single, whether you want kids, whether you have kids. And last night, she's like, I just want to let you know, you're probably going to see my car tomorrow and see that there's a child seat in it. I'm a mom. And I'm like, You don't think that this is like, this is not like, you don't think this is like relevant information? And she's like, I'll give you the option to not see me anymore or whatever. And I actually told her on the spot, I was like, it's cool, I guess. I'll hear your side of the story. Then I went to bed and I woke up and I prayed about it and thought about it. And I was like, nah, man. I mean, I don't want to date a single mom anyway. Most of the, it's not a crazy deal breaker, but it's right there. But especially someone who's not going to say it for 3 days. And then, hey, I was going to talk to you about this, but you're going to see my car. And I'm like, nah, dude. And so that fell through today. And I went to the gym and got a sick pump on instead and lived to fight another day. So that's the deal.
That's the perils of the app. I'm not on the app right now. Just, I was going to ask you, because I thought you were going to go down the route of politics. I don't know if you put that in there because
it says I'm a conservative. I mean, the thing on these websites is you basically, now to a person like you, a person that's a little more, I just thank you for subbing, by the way. I appreciate that. We don't have to date. Just watch the show once in a while.
$2 super chat. Thank you, Cyan. She subbed up and said for the podcast, she said, I subbed to Stephen Ignoramus's channel, but she's not dating him. He's like, it's all good.
Gotcha. All good. So the thing is that, there have been situations. Okay. So anyway, it only gives you the options of like conservative, liberal, moderate, and other. Now to a person such as yourself or someone a little more experienced online, I would never say I'm a conservative. I mean, I would say I'm right wing. I kind of went through all my. Sadly, they don't have the option for fascist on these dating apps. But yeah, it says I'm conservative, and also there's hints in my profile. Like I like guns, and also I think I said something about virtually every conspiracy theory is true. So just stuff like that. But it wasn't over politics. I mean, she seemed concerned. It was just over that baby mama thing, and you got to be upfront about that. You just got to be upfront. I mean, that's your kid. It's the most important thing in your life, and you're trying to find a man, a protector and a provider. You got to be upfront about these huge things. I mean, it's like, I don't know if I were to, I'm trying to think of an analog. Like, by the way, we need to talk day before the date. I make $5,000 a year. I don't know if that's a big deal to you or anything like that, but it is what it is. You know, that's a huge no-no. Like, you got to be upfront a little. If I'm a bum, or not to say having kids is a bum. It's a bad analogy, but
No, I get you. You're not trying to say it's a bum. It's just like big information
it's
that
just
is
big
like
information. It's just big information. Yeah. So, yeah. It is. So back on the prowl, back on the hunt, I guess. And
man,
I honestly think that if I do get married, I'm gonna find her online through the right wing sphere. That it's gonna be some sort of like networking arrange, where I meet her dad or something like that. Because I'm too hot, dude. I don't mean like attractive. I mean like my life. If you type my name into Google, dude, my federal court documents show up. I'm like talking about like Jews all the time. You know what I mean? It's just I'm just hot. Like
the block is hot. He's saying
the block is hot.
The block is hot when you hang out with Stephen Ignoramus. But yeah, I think you'll find that person. I think X is going to be doing a dating thing, and I wonder. I have a feeling.
Word?
Yep. They teased it. Yeah, and I think it will be better because Elon's doing a little different. Even though I have my problems with Elon, X is different than your Tinder or whatever else, and they got good data on how people feel. I think you could see that, but even in person, because you go and do events. You were just at which event were you just at?
What was I just at? Am I getting these wrong? I was at the Oliver Anthony concert, but I don't know if you're talking about that. But then I was at the TPUSA one before that, and the Fuentes rally in the same weekend. Then I was at CPAC Fuentes rally. I was at January 6th. I was at Stop the Steal before that. I've been to CPAC 3 times. Yeah.
So these are all great events that if I were single, I'd be going to. But are these sausage fests? Is what I would presume.
It's even, of course, and they're just something.
Wait, you're about to say it's even worse than that. Wait.
I mean, it's like, dude, and these people are all. You ever interact? Most people have had this interaction before, where you'll talk to someone, and they're immediately, you can tell that they're just trying to get something out of you. They're sizing you up, and the minute you start saying stuff that either bores them or doesn't benefit them, they're like shifty-eyed, looking in the other direction, seeing if they can dip out to the next conversation. So they are sausage fests, but also it's more just if you don't have something to offer, no one's just trying to have a conversation. So it's young people, but most of the right wing is super cucked. So it's cucked young dudes and just
even the Fuentes event.
No, not at all.
Okay.
What I mean is the mainstream ones. The Fuentes events are awesome. The Fuentes events the Groypers are awesome. So what I'm talking about is CPAC, TPUSA, some to certain. Well, no, Trump rallies are really fun. But no, the Fuentes events are fantastic. But it's like young opportunist men in sport coats and women that have just been passed around both the frat house and the plastic surgery lab, dude. It's just washed up. Yeah, I'll go back. I like standing out. I'm taking a film crew to the one in Phoenix in December. I'm gonna do some interviews, so I'll keep going. But yeah, half what I do is I just start making fun of people, and that's just what I do now. Yeah.
Yeah, we played some of those clips, I think, last time we talked, where we talked about the clips, which I don't forget which event it was, but you actually you met Fuentes at one of those events. Yeah, the Groypers, man, I talk about this on the channel a lot because, I think it was just a couple years ago or a year ago, I kept hearing people talk about this dude, Nick Fuentes. I'm like, who is this dude? And then I saw some videos. I'm like, oh, I seen him on YouTube, I think way, way back when he used to be on YouTube. I was like, oh, that dude, that geek debater dude? And I was like, what's going on? So I went to, his Cozy TV and started watching him, and I was in the chat. And every Groyper I've ever chatted to was just dope, just based. Like, I haven't talked to one person through that kind of connection that's been like whack. Yeah. And they're completely different. I never met one in real life, but it's completely different than what it's portrayed as. The whole...
Yeah. I mean, I will say that the Groypers actually are a little bit different online than they are in real life. I like them online, but I like them more in real life.
Oh, wow.
They don't swear as much. They're not as
you can tell
shit posty all the time.
It's all an exterior and really having fun.
Yeah, they're like having fun online. But in person, dude, these are the most wholesome Christian young men. I mean, dude, I don't know if you saw this article or this thing that just came out where this 17-year-old girl, this 17-year-old girl put a Reddit post out there that her 13-year-old brother is a huge Fuentes fan. And he's starting to say stuff at the dinner table. I'm telling you, there's people, young boys as young as 11 that are diehard Fuentes fans, and they're going to grow up and be politicians. And this wasn't just a normal Reddit post. This guy actually got found by the left, or maybe by Groypers, and he got put on display. So yeah, he is a young crowd. A lot of the people I know there, I never asked their age, but I mean, there's 16, 17-year-olds at these Fuentes events. So it's a young, kind of wholesome, funny community, and they're just online. They're just hard because they have that hive mentality. Fuentes will tell them to do something on Telegram or whatever, and they'll just do it. They'll mob up on people on Twitter. Yesterday, Fuentes did an event, or I guess it was today, he did a stream where he was the biggest stream on Rumble, but he wasn't on their front page.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
So he was like, everyone tag Chris Pavlowski and ask him why, and it got fixed. So they have that hive mind mentality, a lot like Trump.
Yeah, I saw that. And imagine, I don't want to be, always like, what if, because what's going on now to me is good with Nick, great with Nick. But imagine if he wasn't censored everywhere. That's why they got to do it. He'd be bigger than Crowder. He'd be bigger than all of them. Charlie Kirk, all of them.
He's smarter. He's funnier. He's more articulate. He actually has the benefit of being correct. I mean, that's the thing that really would sell him the most. He's just right and they're wrong. They're wrong on almost on every issue that matters. They're wrong on every issue that they kind of agree on. Doesn't matter that much. I mean, the mainstream right is kind of afraid to they're afraid to do anything other than talk about guns, rights, and money. And those things are, I wouldn't say they don't matter, but they don't matter as much as our country being raped, as much as foreign influence and all kinds of things that Fuentes talks about. But just to go back to the debate, that's all they talked about last night in the debate. Kind of was money. It was
in a corny way too, not in a corny way. Cornballs.
Yeah,
just a bunch of cornballs and
dorks, dude.
Yeah, Vivek was the only one who you're like, okay, he's acting kind of normal. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they're talking about Gab in the chat. Do you go on Gab at all?
I don't. I don't. Might be wrong says that they're rough on Gab. I just don't know. I don't know who is. To me, if a person has never and will never go to a Fuentes event, I have trouble believing that they are actually a Groyper. I know that's a little bit of a no true Scotsman fallacy. Maybe they create a Groyper image and I don't know. It's tough to say because it's a non-accounts, but Gab is a lot of, I like being in the scene. Twitter is clearly the scene. It's where the discussion happens. It's the smallest mainstream social media platform, yet international heads of state put out their official comments and statements on there. So I want to be in the scene. Gab is totally not the scene. I like Andrew Torba a lot, who's the creator of Gab. I respect what he's doing, but I don't have all the time in the world to be on like 5 different platforms. So Twitter is just, Twitter's where the game is played, and I want to be in the game. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like Gab, but like you said, I only have so much time.
Yeah.
When people say outrageous stuff, it doesn't shock me, or doesn't rub me the wrong way. But one thing that you said, you're talking about, I think it's good to gatekeep. I think we call that gatekeeping, the Groypers and like who's really down, because that's how people can easily pretend or fake account and say something crazy and they were this and they were that, and I'd rather gatekeep it down to like who you've seen in person than error on the side of everybody's really down,
Yeah.
I think that's dangerous. I think it's good to gatekeep.
Yeah, I don't believe in the Big Tent approach to almost anything. I think the Big Tent catches on fire the first. I just don't. Yeah, it's really all big movements not just political, but otherwise, it came from a small group of extremely driven, talented, dare I say, elites. I mean, last time we spoke, I was saying that I am the definition of an elitist because I want people to be elite. I want me and my boys to be the most elite. And, you look at the American Revolution or whatever movement, it's always done by a minority of crushers that found the way to bottleneck the situation and exploit it. And this is in business, this is in politics, it's in all kinds of stuff. So I think that's I think gatekeeping, like you said, is super based. I think that's why it's interesting. This is why I'm not a populist, because I'm literally an elitist. I think if it's about the popularity, the populace, dude, these people are retarded, man. Like, people are retarded. I mean, the person, I mean, this is I'm just quoting Men in Black, where he's talking about how the person is smart, but people are crazy, dumb, ridiculous, and Agent J. But yeah, I mean, very based, bottlenecking and gatekeeping and having a natural elite. I'm in America, the elite is always going to be there. There's always going to be an aristocracy. I'm just saying, can it please be American? Like, it's just not American. Our elites are not of our land, and that's one of the biggest problems I have.
Yeah, solid take there. You had that super chat that was, I would have went nuts if I was watching Nick live, and saw the Stephen Ignoramus, saw it live. But I still went nuts when I saw it on Twitter. But you had it was kind of on that topic where your super chat to Nick, right?
Yeah. I mean, I want white excellence, man. I think that's not bad. I'm not a white supremacist. I don't even know what that really even means. Showing our DMs, huh? Jeez. Jeez, hey, man.
I got the wrong.
Jeez, man.
That was ill, man. That was
facts,
ill.
Though, yeah. I definitely want my people to be great. I want my nation to be great. That's funny. It's like,
yeah. Let's pretend like that didn't happen.
Doing?
There's nothing. Yeah. There's nothing. But that's still not good. Loaded. What was that?
Sorry. I'm just saying, you see me sending you pictures of Hitler off air. I'm like, yo, yo, and then you just see you respond based. That's what we need in this country.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh man. Hey, they clapping for literal Nazis in Canada. So I don't want to hear it. Loaded Wrench 14 $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Says great show, my guys. Appreciate you. This is the super chat. You mind if I play it?
No, I don't mind. Yeah.
It's kind of long, so we'll see how long we play it. But this is so cool to see that. This is from Steven right here during Nick's live, where at the end where he always does the super chats.
I don't think so, but who knows? Maybe.
Stephen Ignoramus sent $250. Been watching since Stop the Steal. Just tossing in a little back pay, more to come. Planning to be at the next donor dinner, whenever that is. I saw Oliver Anthony play a music festival on Sunday. It was about as expected. We need white excellence, not whatever you call that. Thanks for doing what you do, Nick. God bless. Christ is King.
Hey, thank you very much for the big super chat. I really appreciate you coming in with that message, because it's like, here's a rich guy with money who says, here's a big super chat and I'll be a donor, and he's agreeing with me. That is a total vindication of my strategy. That is a total vindication of my message and what I'm promoting. To hear that, I appreciate the cavalry coming in here, because I've been saying this, and I'm like, where are all the civilized people that want to live in a real civilization? Where are the rich people that want to live in a rich society where people dress nice and it's classy? I don't find that scene charming. Some people think it's very charming. I don't. The sights, the sounds, the smells. I didn't grow up in that. It's not my scene. And I don't think there's anything objectively good about it. I think people retreat to that because it's where they feel comfortable and it's familiar. But I don't think there's anything to be proud of with that sort of thing. When people are dressed like that and they go out in the mud and go, woo! Woo! with beer and everything, and it's like, I have no affinity for that. And you can call that snobbish. Well, I think I think snobbery is a good thing. I think that snobbishness is standards. It's giving like when people say you're a Karen. And I defend Karens. Karens are the enforcers of standards. We would have no standards if it wasn't for Karens.
Never heard that take before.
Because nobody would care. If nobody said anything, when these standards fell, then they would fall. You know, if you went to a restaurant or whatever, and there was no person there, whether it be a white woman or whoever, to say, hey, I'm paying for this. I expect a certain level of service. I expect this, this, and this. Well, then you're going to get less. It's oppositional. And of course, people say, oh, you're a Karen. And what they mean is if you care about standards, you're a shrill, you're a snob, you're a hard-on. And I feel the same way about stuff like this. People say, oh, it's snobbish, it's elitist. Yeah, I like elites. You don't want to be in an elite thing? You know, you don't want to be elite? Oh, you're a snob. So what do you like? Filth? You like filth and dirt and... I don't know why we would like those things.
I love that part.
I will take the elite option over the...
I've listened to this so much. I have favorite parts. I like this part where he's like, I don't know why you'd like those things.
Yeah.
Out there. So I don't think it's a bad thing. But thank you for the big super chat. I appreciate it. I'm glad my message resonates with you. That's what it's all about, man. Oliver Anthony Music Festival. Yeah, I can imagine it in my head right now.
So that's the perfect super chat. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, it's just awesome. I mean, like I have listened to every America First since about December 2020. And, you know, just a brief, you know, commentary on my listening to content career. I mean, I started off very blue-pilled and liberal, but I was always open-minded and also always into the truth. And my rule was whenever someone would say they hated, like my mom or that's a bad example because she's based, or one of my friends in DC or whoever would say that someone's despicable or disgusting, I would be like, okay, I'm going to give that person they're talking about at least 5 hours of my time to try to look into it. And over that period, I would listen to people for 5 or 10 hours, and it led me through a certain path to Nick Fuentes. And I'm talking about hundreds of live streamers and content creators over the years. And when I started listening to Fuentes around Stop the Steal, something resonated with me, but I didn't really get it for about a year, actually. I listened to everyone for about a year, which is a ton of content. And then I really got hooked in 2022 when I went to AFPAC that year. And I just feel that the guy I've really learned a lot about structuring my arguments and about thinking on my feet and going in depth and into details about things. And I feel like I owe the guy money. I mean, he's provided me all those hours of content and entertainment. And it's not just an entertainment thing. It's really about logical structuring of arguments. I feel like listening to his show has made me smarter. So I'm definitely planning on donating more. Like I said in the super chat, but I support him. I support his movement. I hope that he doesn't kill Protestants when he becomes the Catholic monarch of the United States. But yeah, I mean, definitely he's got a good thing going.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Some people who influenced me, Rush Limbaugh, Jim Rome. I don't know did you ever listen to Jim Rome, sports guy, talk smack?
I listened to Rome is Burning back in the day, but I didn't listen to anything. I mean, I remember that moment where he kept calling this guy Chris
Everett. His name was Jim Everett, I believe.
Jim Everett kept calling him Chris. That was one of the first viral moments. But yeah, I remember watching a little bit of Jim Rome.
Yep, those are the guys who influenced me. But you talked about white excellence.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Philadelphia, and it really pisses me off when I don't even associate as black. We talked about that. And I mean, there's different ways to look at it. Obviously, my skin's dark brown, but I'm just saying, like, whatever that identity is, I want to be the opposite of whatever y'all are, because y'all are wilding. And when I look at it, and Larry Elder had a clip where he was talking about fatherlessness, but I looked at Philadelphia and we're talking about the riots.
Yeah.
And that was my first thought was, where are the fathers? These are like kids out here doing this stuff, filming it, and there's so much there. They're they're ratting on themselves. They're laughing at the destruction of their own neighborhoods. They're stealing, thinking it's good. I mean, there's so much to talk about there. My thought was, where are the fathers? You go online, and this is where I have most of these discussions. I go online, and then people kind of look like, well, what are you talking about? What's the fatherless problem? You don't see a fatherless problem when kids are running up into Lululemon and getting stuff out of it? What's your take on that? I say, like, I wish y'all would have, even though I don't like the ideology of like Lenin and Marxism, but the Black Panthers back in the day, they had black excellence. You think the Black Panthers would be supporting people running up into Foot Locker stealing shoes? Are you crazy? So I like your idea of white excellence, and Nick talking about what I'm not satisfying. I'm not, just looking for average or below average. Yeah. What's your talk? Is that pertinent? What do you think about that in relation to the riots?
Yeah, I mean, there's many angles that you're to this whole thing. I mean, definitely, I say this on my show, it seems like 5 times a week at this point. I mean, what you really got to do at this point, there's no way to just put fathers back into homes or whatever. And unfortunately, what you kind of have to do, and I'll try to be as little, not too colorful about this, but what you essentially have to do is you have to militarize these cities, send the military in there, make a perimeter, and send these people that you have to, I said it on my show yesterday, where you have to take these people and put them not there. Okay, that's the beginning of and you have to put them not there for the rest of, and make it so they never come back. Now, that could be in the form of a body bag. That could be in the form of life in prison. That could be in the form of literally, Jackson Hinkle. We talked about Jackson Hinkle. He wanted to restart the gulags in Alaska. You send them to Alaska, and so they never, ever come back. So the solution to that thing is Patrick Buchanan had his speech, the culture war speech, the GOP primary, the RNC, I think in 1995, where it's force rooted in justice backed by moral courage. And it needs to just be that. It needs to be the arm of the state taking care of these people. And
I'm sorry, can you say that? That's on the base. Sorry, say that one more time.
Force. Okay, you can look up the speech, but he's talking about the LA riots. I guess it was 92, not 95. He's talking about the LA riots, and there were people that are 17 to 19 that were in the Army National Guard that were protecting that community from the looters and rioters. And he tells a story about how the mob wanted to ransack this retirement home. And the only thing standing in the way was National Guard, these people no older than 19 that were in the way, 2 men with their guns saying they were going to shoot the rioters if they took another step. And he said the mob hissed, the mob sneered, but the mob retreated. And that's because it had met the only thing that would make it turn away: force rooted in justice, backed by moral courage. And that's the only thing. I mean, the fatherlessness thing is a long-term solution. Okay, people need fathers. They need mothers too. And here we got this society where the men are acting like bitches and the women are acting like dudes. And that's not going to change overnight. But what you can change with the right leadership is the arm of the state has to go in and treat criminals like criminals again. And they need to be, and if they run or if they resist, you have to deal with them with deadly force from the state. I'm not advocating for vigilante justice or the private assault. I'm advocating for the army, for these neighborhoods to be militarized. Now, unfortunately, 99% of the people that are dealt with, whether it be in the way I just said, or exile or prisons, they're gonna be black, and that means you're gonna get called racist. And that's why I just call myself racist. Because I'm not saying to go after all black people. I'm saying the people doing these things are 99% black. I mean, and that's a distinction, and there's a big difference. It's not saying go after all the blacks. It's go into these predominantly black neighborhoods, and most of the people are criminals. And part of it is because of culture part of it. We haven't really talked about this too much. I think there's a genetic propensity in races to behave a certain way. I mean, not just in crime, but like if you look at racial IQs, if you look at racial, all kinds of things, some groups outperform others. And if you have groups outperforming others, then you have groups underperforming of others. It's just what it is. I'm very critical of Jewish power in the world, and they have a above average IQ as a group. That's just is what it is. So I don't think race is just a skin color. I think skin color is a aspect of race, and that race is called black or called white. But the race is not just skin deep. Race is a set of biological and genetic characteristics that make a people group, make a person a certain race. So I think there is a genetic racial aspect to more stuff than we think in this society. But anyway, that doesn't matter to me as much as what the government's got to do about it, man. It's just gone on too far. And, you talked about black excellence. If these people were out of society, it would make room for the people that are trying to be great, like you. There's nothing that I just want. I mean, I want white excellence because it's like I am white and I am proud of being white. And but I also want Christian excellence. I want everyone to be the best version of themselves that they can be, whether that be an individual or a group. And I think that it's a shame. I mean, just to get back to Fuentes real fast, that's why he's so critical of this Oliver Anthony Wigger culture, man, because that is bringing our people down, man. And it's like all good people don't like the worst of their group. It makes everything bad. It makes everyone look bad. It makes people not trust or not like your group. And it just needs that specifically the inner city crime thing. It could be gone in a year. If the government would just be the government, and the government has the right to wield the sword against murderers, looters, rioters, and things like that. So anyway, long rant, but that's how I feel.
No, that's an epic rant, and I think there's a lot of truth there. There's a lot. You always bring to the table things for me to think about. And that's what I really like about you, because I'm coming from the libertarian aspect of it. But even in a libertarian society, you're going to have very protective not police, but like private security forces. You mentioned something. One thing before we get back to a little bit of the fatherlessness, I want to play another clip from something. But you brought up something here that another thing I respect about you is fearlessness. You're not afraid of this racist word or whatever like that. I can't be out here afraid of people putting raccoons in my Twitter feed or whatever like that. This woman on here kind of echoed that sentiment. Let me play this clip for you, 1:25 seconds.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to post this video on Twitter, and if you get to see it, you're lucky, because I'm probably going to delete it really fast because it's really racist, but I want to get the shit out of my chest because I can't take it no more. But I need white people to really start being white supremacists again. I need you guys to tap into that shit and do it again, please, because this country is out of control. I mean, goddamn, we got little kids thinking that they could be fucking females, and we got black people thinking they built America. This shit is crazy. And honestly, if you guys don't do anything about it, your whole generation is going to be completely... I mean, come on, nah. You guys are getting killed off right now, and you guys, it seems like you guys are okay with it. Your women are getting raped, that's for sure, by Muslims and blacks. It's happening all the time. You see it. Ain't nobody say anything, because you can't say nothing bad about a Muslim or a black man. Oh, you can let them rape. Go ahead, let them rape. But don't say anything about being racist. Don't say that, right? You guys need to stop it, okay? I don't know. I think Alex Jones was right about the whole...
I think that was a fire. I'm sorry. Let me bring it back.
Ain't nobody say anything, because you can't say nothing bad about a Muslim or a black...
Yo, my man, are you putting that in there?
No, I did not. No, I did not put that in there. I did not put that in there.
Man.
You guys are okay with it. Your woman's
What's that?
I was just saying, because we talked about this off air. I don't think any of these are doctored, man. I just think this is like a epidemic in the black community, like where they just can't. They don't know how to change their batteries. They don't. I don't know what it is, but it is crazy. It is, multiplying like AIDS, dude. This chirp epidemic, dude.
I'm not going to talk because I got crickets. But like you said, at least they're living beings.
Yo, dude, I was saying this off air, but this is how refined Osiris is. He has chirping in the background when I got, before we got on air, but it was real life crickets, y'all. Like it was it's just refined and high IQ, and they're living beings. But so if you're gonna have the chirp, make sure it's Jiminy Cricket, dude. That's hilarious. But yeah, dude, that girl. Just back to the clip. That lady's probably getting called a coon. She's getting called an Uncle Tom for just spitting straight facts about. I mean, whatever you call it, but white people ruled the world. White cultures ruled the world for 500 years. And if you call that white supremacy, I mean, I guess that's white supremacy, but it was very good for the world. We invented a lot of stuff. And under our stewardship, the world was in a better way. And now that every white country is being destroyed by immigration and foreign influences, the world isn't as good anymore. I'm not saying it's just that simple. But, yeah, I mean, we need people to start caring about who they are and what they do again. And white people had a big say in that for hundreds of years. So,
yeah. And I think if you were really into diversity, equity, I don't know about the equity part, but inclusion, you would be able to, in that push, say, oh, yeah, white lives matter. Yeah, of course. You'd be able to say, yeah, white people should be excellent. Why shouldn't everybody be excellent? And like you said, there are some genetics and different things at play. Everybody has their strengths and everybody has their weaknesses. If you are really going to talk about diversity and inclusion, that would be the discussion. It shows you that it's just DEI is just another way to me of saying anti-white. And white is bad. And then now I can take the white sticker and I can stick it on Candace Owens. I can stick it on Officer Tatum. I can stick it on, it doesn't matter what your skin color is. And you can't we can't be afraid right now. I just don't have any tolerance for it. I'm not going to be afraid to speak.
Yeah. Based. Yeah. I mean, all these little buzzwords. I mean, this is another thing that might be a little bit controversial in Christian circles or whatever. I mean, because Christ is king, our ultimate identity as Christians is to be found in Christ. But if you look at the landscape of what's going on, these people aren't as anti-Christian as they are anti-white. That's just the facts. Like, they don't really have problems with black and brown people and Asians being Christian. They have a problem with white Christians, and they have a problem with the Christianity in as much as it's white people doing it. And also, I will concede that what they do to Christianity is they just pervert it and dilute it rather than just trying to stamp it out. But all these buzzwords, they're racist means anti-white. Diversity means anti-white. Pro-immigration means anti-white. Anything that they'll try to and specifically anti-white Christian man with a spine. That is the true N-word in our culture, is the white Christian based alpha male with a spine. And that's why I respect people so much that have that group. I mean, it just happens to be that I am in that group in some respects, and also I'm trying to grow more of a spine. But even if I wasn't in that group, in that subset, facts are facts. They're trying to get rid of that group in his home country. And we can't stand for it. It cannot be done. We cannot allow it. And again, I mean, I'm not a Catholic. I'll never be a Catholic, but this is one of the reasons I support Nick Fuentes and people like Nick Fuentes, because they realize this group power dynamic going on in our homeland, man. So it's a big struggle.
When people talk about immigration, that's the part they're missing. And Tucker talks about it. A few people talk about it, but it's hard for me to hear people talk about immigration when we all know what's going on and the person talking about it doesn't acknowledge the elephant in the room. Let me end on this real quick. This one, if it's okay, this one's for me, just to get this one out the way. I haven't talked about it yet. Larry, have you seen this? I don't know if you've seen this. This is a clip from Larry Elder. This is a problem I have. And it's one of the reasons why, again, I talk about the Black Panthers. back in the day, they were way more base than what you see right now. And you look back at Fred Hampton back in the day, and Fred Hampton got offed by the FBI. Why? After he got together with people that were labeled as racist, these young patriots from back in the day, and he put together what was known as the Rainbow Coalition. And those guys, they had legitimate debates. They weren't afraid to debate anybody. They talked about it. They were more black nationalists, and they had real conversations. Here's what we have today. Larry Elder's on with this podcast. I've seen this podcast clips. I forget what the name of the podcast is. I think they have their stickers there, but I honestly don't care. I don't like this. So Larry Elder's on with them, and let's look at this interaction just a minute long.
You're talking about that there's this epidemic in the Black community of fatherlessness. What have you done to combat fatherlessness in the Black community?
Okay, so you're accepting that we have an issue with fatherlessness in the Black community. You're accepting that, I assume.
I'm not. You said that.
I didn't think so. So you're not accepting it, and you're asking me, what am I doing about something that you don't accept?
No, you're my question is clear as day. Is that have you not done anything to combat fatherlessness?
You just now acknowledged, in your opinion, that what I just now said isn't even a problem.
Larry, please answer. What have you done to combat fatherlessness?
I'm waiting for Rachel to answer my question. Then I'll respond.
I've already answered that question.
So you want me to respond to a problem, to answer what
Larry,
it's your campaign, Larry. Larry, this is your campaign. Your campaign is about fatherlessness. I'm giving you the floor to talk about how you have combat fatherlessness because you say it is such an issue in this country and you don't want to answer the question.
I'm happy to answer the question, provided that you acknowledge that there is a problem.
Larry, get the fuck out of here.
Okay, I don't know if you've seen that. I've gone Michael Douglas figuratively, politically, falling down on Black women. It is toxic. What the hell is going on here? I think he should answer the question, but the bigger point he was saying is, wait a second, all of a sudden you're trying to come up on me for my solutions to a problem you don't even agree with. That's just obvious that everyone can see. Yeah, this is the first time you've seen. I just sprung it on you. I don't know if you have any thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the problem's just women, dude. I mean, and that's not the only problem, but that's, every guy knows, especially if a guy plays sports, that the dynamic shifts the minute a woman can come in the room if guys are talking, and she doesn't even need to speak. So this part of it is not the woman's fault. Okay, this first argument I'm going to make. The second one is, but if there's guys speaking, trying to handle something important, and a woman enters the room, people start speaking differently. Sometimes the men will start speaking more boisterously to overcorrect. A certain amount will simp. A certain amount will try to go alpha mode. Women mess everything up, and that's even before she starts speaking. Now, when the woman starts speaking, it becomes her problem and her fault because it's never good. It ramps it up, and look at the end there. The beta male, it needs to give her some sort of credence, so he ends the stream. If that was, I put a tweet a while back that said, American politics, I try to remember it, American politics would be solved in less than 2 years if it was all men in politics. I mean, voting in the rooms, and especially if we were able to handle things behind closed doors. I didn't put this in the tweet, but I will say, and also leaving the room open for potential beatdowns. If that was the dynamic again, this would get cleaned up quick. Like you said earlier about making men strong again. If men were able to solve problems behind closed doors without female influence, it would be crazy how fast things turned around, because it would just be about what's up again. It would be like, what up? This the truth. I'm saying this. What's your take? If you cross a certain line, then there's going to be some drama, and that's just is what it is. So now, the woman thing aside, what I saw in that video, you'll see this a lot, and you can't unsee it once you see this pattern playing itself out. People will start to say, they'll make this argument, if you haven't experienced a very specific thing, then you cannot speak about that thing. And it's like, oh, well, you haven't been to Montana. How can you talk about policy in Montana? It's like, what? You know, I've been to states. I'm a human being capable of emotion and empathy. And we're able to see, humans actually can see the future. Every human sees the future. If you haven't eaten in a week, you know you're going to be hungry tomorrow. If I pull the plug on this computer, we're not going to be talking anymore. Humans have the ability to see the future. So they're like, you aren't a woman. What would you know, like what it's like to be a woman? It's like, you don't know what it's like. No one could. What it's really supposed to do is shut down the conversation so no one can speak about anything ever. And whoever is making this argument just gets to win. So, and this is, if you look at who's doing it, it's mostly women. So if it was just men talking like men, especially behind closed doors, this would be a much better scene. Be more godly, so yeah, man, I've never seen that, but that's one of my favorite words. One of my favorite descriptors that I've started saying in the last year is bitch made. I've been calling so many so that's just the bitch made podcast with simp at the end being like, get out of here. I'm sure if him and Larry were talking privately, it'd be a much different conversation.
That is a wrap. Everything I had to say about that is irrelevant. That's on the spot. I didn't tell him about that take. That's Stephen Ignoramus. You got to follow him. We're wrapped up on the conversation, but hey, where can they get you at? Cyan followed him. I think if you like this channel, you're going to like his channel. He's funnier. You got to like the takes. He was talking about people's craniums the other day. How did they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So yeah, it's Stephen Ignoramus, but if you just look up Ignoramus Streams on YouTube, it says that on the board. And Ignoramus Streams is my streams channel on YouTube. Ignoramus Videos is my videos channel, where I clip stuff and put interviews. One of my most recent videos on Ignoramus Videos is Osiris coming on my show. I'm also trying to grow my Rumble a lot over, the next year or so. If you follow over on Rumble, that's just Ignoramus. And like it says up on the screen, JR Normus on Twitter. Yeah, I don't know how to describe my show any better, but there's no group that I won't upset. We kind of go hard. That's why we put the Rumble, the replays on Rumble and Odyssey, interview people, funny stuff, politics, news, culture, 10 a.m. every weekday. It's good time. We're looking for more people. It's a relatively small show, so check it out. I'm every weekday at 10. Come there tomorrow. I got a good show planned for tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time, but it's been awesome, man.
It's been great. It's amazing that, I just say you're a concerned citizen in part two, journalist, and what you can do with the mic. And shoot, I didn't know I would have one person following or subscribing. So for me, it's all bonus after that. But let's get Stephen Ignoramus. You know how much work you put into. I can't speak for you. But I listen to your show. I know you put in work to know these topics, to talk about it, to think through them, and it's amazing stuff. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, man. Well, this has been great. Appreciate having me on.
Thanks, everybody. Take care. Appreciate you. Peace.